guys, my name is Lauren and I am back with another book haul. Okay, so it is Memorial Day weekend and well, all the thrift stores really had this massive sale. Everything in the store was half off except for select few things. So I have, you can't see here, but that is a handlebar of a shopping cart that I have to bring groceries up. It's full to the top with books. So I'm not going to tell you what every one of them is about. We're just going to try to get through this because otherwise we'll be here all day. So right on top of the pile is Unwind by Neal Shusterman. Now, Neal Shusterman, I believe, is to this day is the only author that I have met. And I met him like 20 years ago when he was promoting Downsiders. But this book is about, it's a dystopian world in which if your parents deem you like unruly, unmanageable, or whatever, they can unwind you. Basically, they can like take your organs and disperse them. They can just make you just get rid of you, more or less. I have Naked City, which is Tales of Urban Fantasy. It is a urban fantasy short story bind up. This one features Patricia Briggs, who is one of my favorite authors. But I like these because they give me an opportunity to see if I like work from other authors without having to suffer through a whole book if I don't like them. Gives me more urban fantasy to read. So there's that. Then I have some books by Kat Martin. These are not the only two, but I have a lot of her paperback books already. These are historical romance novels, but she also writes contemporary like action romance novels. They tend to be like FBI or private eye mystery kind of romance novel-y things. I don't know what you classify those, but Regal's Bride and Reese's Bride, which are historical. And then, oh, there's another one of hers, The Devil's Necklace, which is also an historical romance novels featuring British privateers. Then I have here a couple of books by Neil Gaiman. I have The Ocean at the End of the Lane and I have Good Omens. And then Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett is, I'm not really sure what it's about. You guys know me, I'm just going into a lot of books blind lately because a lot of the summaries are getting really freaking spoilery and it's not any fun if you figure out the plot twist because this is shit like, what are they going to do when so-and-so happens? And I'm like, thanks! So, this one is supposed to be apocalyptic. The little blurb on the front says the apocalypse has never been funnier. And then a little blurb on the back says, what's so funny about Armageddon? More than you think. Never to read, branch out genre-wise. I have some horror and some thrillers in here somewhere. And some of them are on my shelf, but that is my goal for this summer. So, I've always wanted to read Dracula by Bram Stoker. So, I have that. Then a pretty cool find was Renfield, and if you're not familiar with Dracula lore or vampire lore or mythology or whatever you want to call it, Renfield, I can't remember if Renfield is one person or Renfield is a name for all of them, but it's kind of like the vampire's entranced slave person who handles all his business during the daytime and more or less is human servant. And the cover is pretty cool. Look at that. So yeah, it says like, at night he whispers in my dreams, I saw as in a vision the ship that bears his sleeping body driven ashore by a storm. He is coming. And this is by Barbara Hambly. I'm going to regret reading these. They're going to scare the shit out of me, but oh well. Hannibal and Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. Everybody's seen or heard of Silence of the Lambs or Hannibal. That's what these are. So I'm missing one. But these are the two I have now. I'm going to read them this summer. Hopefully I read them in the morning time and I'll be able to sleep at night. I'll watch like thriller-y movies. But books are worse for me because they don't just give you an image and it's like, see, that's scary and it may or may not be something you find scary. Books are worse because your imagination is automatically, your imagination is already conjuring what's scary to you. So I have Dance with the Devil by Sherilyn Kenyon. It is part of her Dark Country series. I do have another copy of this book, but it isn't all hologrammy. So this is the older one before the first time she did the covers to look like, because when she redid the covers, when I finally got around to them, they all look like this kind of, even the paperback. They all have that dark and then they have like that person's little off to the side, or more recently, the newer ones don't even have a person and they just kind of look like that. So, and then the ones with the people on them, these are the older ones. So, This one is Zarek's story. Zarek's story is a particular favorite of mine. Like, this book was actually, I found it on the floor face down this way, and I glanced down and I saw Zarek's name. I was like, is that a Dark Hunter book? And then I picked it up, and then it was all hologrammy and cool. But Zarek is one of the Dark Hunters who got screwed over the worst by Artemis, who's also known as the bitch goddess in this series. Poor Zarek. Like, if you like J.R. Ward's series and you like Zeta's story, and poor Zeta's had this horrible backstory, and when you finally found somebody who loved him, you're just like, yes! Zarek is that version of that. Yeah, he was already a slave in his human life, and then when he was made into a Dark Hunter, he kind of got screwed over, and it was unfairly. It was just Artemis being an asshole. So there is that. I'm really excited to have that. I told you, I just like the older covers of books better than the newer up-to-date ones. And then look at, that's a hell of a lot better. Like, who doesn't like that? Look at it, it's cool. And I have Throne of Jade by Naomi Novik. I have the other one, another one in here somewhere. I don't know what number in the series it is or any of that shit. Then there is The Professional by Cressida Cole. And if you watched my favorite series books, then you saw the Immortals After Dark series by Cressida Cole. Cressida Cole also writes contemporary romance. And this one is part of the Game Maker series, which I believe is like a Russian mafia romance. And I have a sick obsession with mafia stories. Like, so then I have a bunch of books from the Bitten series, or I think it's called the Underworld series, but it starts with Bitten. And if you've seen that show Bitten that I think is on Sci-Fi Channel with Elena Michaels, the female werewolf, fabulous. I hadn't read the books yet, but if you liked, what's this, Sookie Stackhouse fuckery? True Blood. This is like the werewolf version of True Blood. Like, very adult series. As far as the TV show, I haven't read the books yet, but the TV show is very adult. A lot of like nudity sneaks in there, but it's still a really good show. And like Elena and Clay, like, there are no words for how hard I ship them. Like, oh, my heart. But go check out Bitten. It's on Netflix and it's the shit. Then I have, because I am a dork and I've always liked Greek mythology, I have the Iliad by Homer, and I'm looking for the Odyssey. And then I also have Alexander, Child of a Dream. It is by Valerio Massimo Manfredi. So Philip of Macedon is mentioned in this book. Julian of Macedon, I think it's Julian of Macedon? Julian Alexander of Macedon, whatever. He is featured in the first book that kicked off the Dark Hunter world. I also have The Once and Future King by T.H. White. There is The Fires of Merlin by T.A. Barron, and one of my first book hauls I did from Goodwill, I found the Lost Years of Merlin and the 7 Songs of Merlin. This is a continuation of the series. This is The Fires of Merlin. So this is book 3. This one I'm super excited about. So if you see these books right here, the Robin Hood and Tuck and Scarlet, which is 3 in a series of like Robin Hood retellings that feature like Celtic stuff. I think it has to do with like Norman and Saxons and Welsh and stuff. But anyway, the author who wrote that trilogy, which I have not got to read yet, apparently also wrote sci-fi, because there's a book of his, Stephen R. Lawhead, sorry if I didn't say that already, Dream Thief. So this is like a space opera-y kind of thing, I think. Then I have by Jim Butcher, Princeps Fury, which is book 5 of the Codex Alera. And I have book 3 over there somewhere. I still haven't found 1 and 2, so I haven't read them yet. So if you remember when I talked about Illuminae, and I was really excited about the way the formatting was supposed to be, because I had read a book a long time ago. I had a book by Meg Cabot. It was like a Boy Next Door or something like that kind of a thing. And the email, it was like emails and texts and stuff. I found it today. Yeah, it appears to be all emails. But Meg Cabot wrote the Princess Diaries, and I have every single one of those. So this book is about a girl who, I guess she falls in love with her her older neighbor has this dog, a giant Great Dane, and her neighbor falls for the dog walking nephew, who is supposed to be this womanizing photographer. Oh, then also by Neil Gaiman, I have Stardust. No idea what it was about, but it was by Neil Gaiman, so I just picked it up. And speaking of, I spoke earlier of J.R. Ward and her Black Dagger Brotherhood series and Zetas. She also apparently wrote, I'm not sure if this is contemporary or historical, but it's a romance novel. but she wrote it under the pen name Jessica Ward. Jessica Bird. Why have a pseudonym if you're gonna put both of them on the book? Like, it's still me, but I'm writing under this name. Then, okay. Then there is Scandal in Scotland by Karen Hawkins. That is a historical romance. You know, I've mentioned it repeatedly. I love my Scottish Highlanders and my lairds. Speaking of which, I also have Tam Lin, which I bought for research purposes for some stuff that I am writing. But it's a Scottish ballad, Tam Lin, and it's about fae. So this is a book based on that Bard's Tale kind of a deal. If I get into it, I'll be talking about it forever, but I'm really fascinated by it. I'm researching it. It's got like fae folklore and stuff that I am using for book purposes. But yeah. And then I would have read it anyway because I love fae and Welsh folklore, Scottish folklore, Celtic tales, all that fun stuff. Then there is One Pink Rose and One White Rose by Julie Garwood. And then I bought the bind up of said books, of which there are three: One Pink Rose, One White Rose, and One Red Rose. So I have them separately and all together. Then The Fire King by Marjorie Liu, which has to do with thrifters or something, I think. Yep, long ago shapeshifters were plentiful. Then this one looked pretty interesting. It is The Wet Nurse's Tale. It's kind of like historical fiction, like The Handmaid's Tale kind of a thing. But this one, like the main character, even for a Victorian heroine, she's promiscuous, lovable, plump, and scheming. Luckily for Susan, her big heart is covered by an equally big bosom, and her bosom is her fortune. Another one of my Nancy Drew hardbacks. Then there is King Arthur and His Knights of the Round Table by Roger Lancelin Green. Then I have The Rise of the Nine and the Power of Six by Pittacus Lore. And these are books 2 and 3 in the I Am 4 series, which was a movie. Then, speaking of The Handmaid's Tale, this is Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood. More books by Meg Cabot. So then I have Abandoned and Insatiable. Are these in the same series? I think they're in the same series. This is the first in the series. It's Haiti and Persephone retelling. This one's about vampires. It says no biting on the back. Biggest shit right there. No biting. Morning Star and Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. The first one is Red Rising. Red Rising I bought a couple weeks ago when Amazon had that sale, and they were selling them for $1.99 on Kindle, but I haven't read it yet. But then these were 49 cents a piece, and they're the hardback versions. But I'm assuming, just looking at this one, they're Russian-ish in origin. I could be wrong. I'm horrible at this. How do I know that? I just be buying shit and don't even know what it's about. Then there are more Julie Garwood books. I have a couple of hardbacks by hers that I found. The Bride is one of her historical romance novels, and Heartbreaker is a contemporary, but it features the families, like the descendants of the characters from these books. How many fucking books do I have? Then we have by Christine Feehan, who wrote the Carpathian novel series, which are the vampire, there's a twist on the vampire lore. Dark Wolf. Shit, I think I bought that in paperback too. Fuck. Dark Slayer and Dark Celebration. Then there is The Martian by Andy Weir, which just was made into a movie, and I've been wanting to read that. Then I'm really excited about this. This is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. It is book 1 in the Stormlight Archive. Look how goddamn big it is. Then, also by Christine Feehan, who these that I just showed you, Dark Wolf and all that shit. I have Dark Cold, which is a paperback version of hers. Then by Alyssa Day, there is Atlantis Unmasked. It is about a paranormal romance about warriors for Poseidon. So then there is Wild Thing, which is 4 stories. Is another anthology for paranormal romance. Then I got Harry Potter. So I'm missing books 1, 3, and 6. So I have here The Goblet of Fire, The Chamber of Secrets, The Order of the Phoenix, and The Deathly Hallows. I am missing The Prisoners of The Sorcerer's Stone, The Prisoner of Azkaban, and The Half-Blood Prince. So yeah, it's just simply because mine are in storage and I want to read them again. Keep these to read and have the other ones just put away. So then last, I have The 10th Kingdom. This is gonna mark my age. So this is very Once Upon a Time-y. It was a 3-part, 5-part, 10-part, I don't know, TV special thing on NBC. Yeah, and it's very Once Upon a Time. Like this girl who had no idea she was like descended from fairy tale characters or something like that is pulled into the world. But and then it goes to feature like Rapunzel and Red Riding Hood and Cinderella and Snow White, and has their own little spin on them. And I didn't know it was a book, so I found this and I was super freaking excited. And if any of you don't know what I'm talking about, you're gonna make me feel old, because I believe this came out in like the year 2000. And I was like 10. Yeah, I was 10. 11. I was 11 then. So, if some of you are 21 and younger, you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, and this came on TV, that's why. The book was published in 2000. I think the book was actually published after. So, the show came on in like 98, 99, and then they made a book out of it. But does anybody remember this show? It's freaking cheesy as shit, but I loved it. And that is it for this long ass book haul, guys. I bought a lot of books, and now I have to figure out what the fuck to do with all these. So yeah, that's it, guys. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will catch you later. Bye bye. My bookshelf's already full and my liquor cabinet's full. Or I've run out of places to put these books, and I just bought a whole cart's worth. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life.